Hello everybody, welcome back to another valuation investing video, and today in this video I'm be getting into Novo Nordisk stock and I'm be seeing whether or not this company is the most undervalued stock right now and to see if this company has any chance in rebounding, because this stock continues to just tank and it hasn't seen any signs of momentum to the upside. So with that being said, let's dive deep into the fundamentals, and they just recently had their earnings report, so let's dive deeper into that earnings report and let's see whether or not we should be buying Novo Nordisk today. So taking a look at Novo Nordisk here, as I said, the stock is doing terrible. In the past year, it's down about 55%. So this stock, as we can see, it has not been, it just keeps going down. There's really been no rebound in this stock price, and it just continues to keep going down. So with that being said, people really are interested in Novo Nordisk due to how fast this company has been growing and still expected to grow pretty well with this low valuation of 13 PE ratio. People are very interested. Also, the dividend yield at 3.5%. So this is a very high dividend company at a pretty relatively cheap price. So let's get into why this company is down. Looking at why Novo Nordisk is down here, the first reason is slowing growth and lowered guidance. The company has lowered its full year sales outlook multiple times due to lower growth expectations for its diabetes and obesity treatments. Also, the third quarter revenue and net profit have fallen short of some market expectations, signaling a slowdown. Also, intensifying competition. This is the main thing I think for Novo Nordisk being down. A lot of competition. And if you don't know what Novo Nordisk does, their main sales are from their Wegovy sales. So they basically sell weight loss drugs. They also sell diabetes drugs, but mainly the reason for this company continuing to grow very fast is due to these GLP-1 drugs for weight loss. But since it has been becoming so popular, a bunch of pharmaceutical giants have been getting into the area as well, creating a lot of competition, as we can see, particularly from rival pharmaceutical giants like Eli Lilly with its competing drugs Mounjaro and Zepbound, which are reportedly gaining market share on Novo Nordisk. So obviously we do not want to see other companies taking market share from Novo Nordisk's weight loss drugs, because that's obviously going to hurt them in the long run, where Novo Nordisk won't be able to sell as many and probably will have to lower their prices. So that is just overall not good. Also, pressure from copycat and compounded drugs. Novo Nordisk has faced significant sales pressure in the US from companies producing cheaper compounded versions of its active ingredients. So although the grace period for these compounders has ended, they've continued to have presence in this market to sell, because technically the only way you can use compounded drugs is if there's technically a shortage with that drug. Even though that technically has ended, they still sell the weight loss drugs, and this has really affected Novo Nordisk based on their pricing and just overall sales in general, because there's more on the market. Plus, drug pricing and access deals, recent deals with the US government, like the one with the Trump administration for reducing prices on Wegovy and Ozempic for wider access, has been viewed by some investors potentially hurting their profitability, because it will automatically reduce how much they can sell it for, which will automatically reduce their profit margins. So that could be seen as a negative, but they still will at least continue to increase their sales. With this recent earnings report they had, I think it was last week, as we can see here, sales growth, they report 15%, driven primarily by the diabetes and obesity segments for this year. So far it's growing 15%, so that's good. Operating profit growth at 10%, pretty good growth, but lower than sales growth due to higher costs. Obesity care sales up 41%. So this is fueled obviously by Wegovy and doing very well. Their diabetes sales is up 10% with Ozempic. Net profit fell 27% in quarter three, but that's not too big of a worry because that's a one-off restructuring cost. So we shouldn't be worried about that. That's kind of just a one-time thing. But the biggest problem I think we had with this earnings was the guidance downgrade. Novo Nordisk narrowed its full year 2025 guidance, as we can see, sales growth of only 8 to 11%, down from 8 to 14%. So they're projecting lower sales growth, also projecting lower profit growth. So this is coming as a result of lower growth expectations for its GLP-1 treatments in diabetes and obesity, signaling a slowdown in this momentum. So That is the big concern with Novo Nordisk with that guidance. Also, we have restructuring and job cuts with this company. They're trying to reduce 9,000 positions across the company to become more efficient, which I actually kind of like this, because if they can do this successfully, then that will in turn help their profit margins at least not fall as much as it could. But we have competitive pressure, like I said, with Eli Lilly. Future outlook here, Wegovy pill in the pipeline. Novo Nordisk is trying to launch an oral version of Wegovy, which is expected to help their future growth. And if they can actually do this very well, I think this will help the company a lot, because I think a lot of people would rather take it orally. So I think that is a lot better if they can actually be able to launch this drug. Also, strategic focus with acquisitions, like its pursuit with Metsera, but we're going to be getting into that. The stock was actually up a bunch today as a result of actually not getting into that. As we can see, the acquisition of Metsera, they were in a very heated bidding war with Pfizer to get this company. For an estimated $10 billion, Pfizer actually got the winning bid. So Pfizer did acquire this company, which will help Pfizer continue to gain on the GLP-1 market going against Novo Nordisk. However, Novo Nordisk stock rose after this because it shows financial discipline in the company, and it probably won't have them get into a complex antitrust battle, because if they were to purchase this company, it could potentially lead to some legality issues. Also, the company is focused more on its promising pipeline in Wegovy itself, so that is a good sign for investors, and the stock was up about 5 to 6% today after that. So this could be good news for this company, and I think if they can actually come out with that oral Wegovy drug, this will send the stock soaring. Taking a look at the SWOT analysis for Novo Nordisk here, as we can see, we have the strengths of this company. I would say the biggest strength is the dominant GLP-1 products, although that could be hurting them in the future, because they're going to keep losing market share as time goes on, just because there's a lot of money to be made with the weight loss drugs. A lot of companies want to get into it, so that's probably the problem. It is a strength that they are leading it right now, but it could be a potential problem in the future. But at least they are leading in it, and they do seem to have a pretty good competitive advantage so far. And also, we have robust pipeline diversification, and I would say just momentum in this company is a good strength. However, the weaknesses are the regulatory reimbursement pressures for this company with their drugs, and I think the biggest one obviously is going to be the intensifying competition with Eli Lilly, Zepbound, and Mounjaro. Now, Pfizer acquiring Metsera will also increase that competition, so that's not looking good in terms of the moat for this company. And the moat is just basically how good is their products from getting market share away from them. And right now, I think this is the biggest worry with basically everybody with this company, is the future of the weight loss drugs, and can this company continue to fend off other competition like Eli Lilly and Pfizer? That's why the stock is trading at such low valuations. So if we go over to my valuation investing website, if we type in Novo Nordisk here, if we type in analyze this stock, and if you want to go check out valuationinvesting.money, just look it up. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial if you want to take a look at it. So taking a look here with Novo Nordisk here, we have a market cap of 214 billion. So this is technically, I'm pretty sure, one of the largest drug companies behind Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly's a lot higher, but this is still a big company. PE ratios are insanely low, 13 and 12. That means you're paying $13 for $1 of earnings per share. So that is almost half the average market PE ratio right now. So this is trading at a very low valuation. Also, the free cash flow yield is insanely high, almost 15%. The higher the free cash flow yield, the better it is for the valuation, and the free cash flow yield on average is normally around 3 to 5%. At 15%, this is insane valuation. The only thing I don't really like about this company here is, though, the net cash, negative 10 billion. So they have a decent amount of debt, so that's not the biggest thing I like about this company. It's not great. As we can see with the 7-step stock analysis, we get the forward P ratio very good, return on invested capital very good, growth numbers very good, buying back shares, everything looks good besides the debt to free cash flow isn't looking amazing. It's still not bad at 3.2. It's barely higher than what we want. This means they can pay off all their debt in about 3.2 years. So it's not something to be too worried about. If we go over to the intrinsic value calculator here for Novo Nordisk, I'm going to put a revenue growth rate bear case. I think bear case we could do 4%. Base case I'm going to do 7. Bullish case 10. Bullish case, I think the Wegovy oral treatment will really help this company continue to grow. Base case, I see it growing at about 7%. I think the market share will definitely decrease. With the future profit margin, bear case, I'm going to put 25%. Base case, let's do 30%, bullish case 35. So base case, I have it decreasing from today due to the increased competition. I do think bull case, it is possible to increase that profit margin. If the oral treatment of Wegovy really takes off, this could help the company's profit margin. But I do see their profit margins decreasing in the future. Now for the bear case P ratio, I'm going to put 12. Base case, let's do a 17 PE ratio. Bullish case, I'm going to put 22. Now for the shares outstanding, I think they're going to be buying back at about 1 to 2%. So base case 1.5% buybacks, and then bullish case I'm going to do 2%. So with that being said, calculating the intrinsic values here for Novo Nordisk, as we can see here, we get an annual return of about 11.5% from today's price. Keep in mind this does take into account the dividend. Because this is a net income calculator, that doesn't take into account the dividend. What I mean by it doesn't take into account the dividend, since it's the net income, in the net income, that doesn't take into account the dividend payments. So the net income is before payments of dividends. So technically this does take into account the dividend. So with this return, this would include that dividend yield. So technically you're just going to make 12%. And if the dividend's about 3.5%, in reality, you'll probably be making about 7 to 8%. But with the dividend yield, obviously you'll get up to about a 12% annual return if you believe these middle assumptions. So if you guys like this video, please subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below. If you want to go check out this website, click right here. This will take you over to the website. If you want to sign up, you can sign up through Patreon, 7-day free trial. Then it's only $8 per month. So thank you guys for watching this video, and see ya.